Sophie and I'm from Manchester, and I'm going to share a little bit about how I came to know Jesus and his love for me. So I grew up in a Catholic family. You know, we went to Mass every so often. I received my sacraments. I went to a Catholic school. But it wasn't until I was in sixth form when I was about 17 that I really started to get into my faith and start questioning, was God real? Did Jesus really care for me? Where did he fit into my life? And I remember I went on retreat. A friend of mine asked me if I would like to go away to the Lake District with her for the weekend. And I wasn't really into the whole praying thing, but I'd heard about, she went on hikes, they'd had campfires, she'd made all these new friends. And I knew that I just wanted to get away and adventure for a weekend. So we went up on the train. It was really fun, really exciting. And when we got to the retreat, the priest who was leading it gave us a talk on the Sacrament of Confession. And that's where, as Catholics, we can go to the priest and tell him all of the things we're not proud of. And through the power of the church and through Jesus, he can forgive us of all of those sins. And so being 17 is not easy for anyone. And especially when you're trying to study and you've got family things and everything. And I knew I was keeping all of these things locked up inside. I hadn't told anyone about all this stuff that was going on in my life. And so later on that evening, we had the opportunity to go to confession. So I plucked up the courage, went and spoke to the priest, and I sat down in front of him, and it was really hard to talk to him. And it's hard to open up sometimes. And as I spoke to him, and I started with all of the little sins, all the small things that were easy to say, and the priest looked at me and he said, "Sophie, in this confession, you're not talking to me, you're talking directly to Jesus." And at that moment, I knew that I was talking to Jesus in that confessional, and I just poured my heart out to him. I told him everything that was going on in my life, about my family, my friends, school, how I wanted to go to university, and I thought I was going to fail, and everything. I just gave everything to him. And as the priest said the prayer of forgiveness at the end of the confession, I felt so much lighter. It was like a weight was being lifted off my shoulders. And I walked out of that confessional knowing that I'd encountered Jesus. And when I went home, it's not as if everything was perfect. I passed every exam I ever sat. I spoke to my parents politely all the time, and me and my brother had an excellent relationship. Life is still difficult. But ever since that moment, I know now that whenever I sin, whenever things aren't going right, whenever things seem too much, that I can go to Jesus and tell him everything, especially in the sacraments. And I love that about the church, that they've given us those sacraments. So I don't know, if you're listening to this and you're not sure if Jesus cares for you, you're not sure if he's there, just speak to him and tell him everything that's going on in your life, because I can promise you that he loves you and he cares for you, and he's just waiting for you to turn to him.